All right, y'all. So, we've got to have a difficult discussion, and I hate having conversations like this. I hate having race conversations, and I hate having to deem somebody or something racist, but something just happened that I've got to talk about. As a matter of fact, I've had two experiences that have led me to this video. And so the question I'm asking is, do Cuban men in Miami have a problem with black people or black men in particular? Now, I know on the face of that question, I can't lump everybody in the same box. Everybody is not the same. But for the sake of conversation, let's speak in general. First instance, and I think I told y'all about this before, many months back, I did a real estate transaction where I was owed $1,500. The real estate company gave me $1,500 check. I went to the Citibank because I was on Miami Beach. My bank was about 20 minutes away. I saw that it was written on Citibank. The Citibank was 2 blocks away. To save me time, I just said I'll go in the Citibank and cash the check. When I got in the Citibank, there were 4 tellers of Latin descent. They were all handling the white customers and the Spanish customers with perfect customer service as far as I could see. When I get to the counter, I had a Cuban young man as the teller. He looked up. He did not greet me or whatever. I said I wanted to cash this check. He was very dry with me. I did not think racism instantly. I thought maybe he's just having a bad day. Maybe he's hungry. Maybe he's ready to go on his lunch break. There are 10,000 reasons why this guy could be so dry with me right now. Long story short, I noticed that it's taking him longer to cash this check than it does to cash a check in a bank. So he comes back to me and he says, "What is this check for?" So I instantly get offended because I'm like, none of your motherfucking business. And I'm sorry, I don't care about any of y'all that work in banking. Why somebody gave me a check is not your motherfucking business. Your only business is to cash this bitch, as far as I'm concerned. Long story short, the check was written out of sequence. My check number, let's just say, was 350. The last check cashed was check number 189. Okay? Now listen to me. I'm a very fair person. I'm very diplomatic when it comes to business. I recognize that that is a large disparity, so something may be off with the check. Here is my issue. Why was his inherent response to treat me like a criminal? Just like there could have been 400 reasons why he was dry, there could have been 99 reasons why that check was written out of sequence, and me stealing the check ain't one of them. So he sent me through the ringer about there's nothing that I can do, that this check is written out of sequence, and that we needed to contact, per his instructions, he needed to get in contact with the owner of the company. Now, y'all, this was a mega real estate company. You're not getting hold of the owner of a multi-branch real estate company so freely. So when he called and couldn't reach the owner and was able to reach the office manager who wrote the check, he didn't want to speak to her, gave me the ringer, started talking to me crazy, asking me, well, why can't I just take it to my bank, this, that, and the third. Just gave me all kind of horrible customer service. Long story short, there was a gentleman, a personal banker who deals with this branch on a daily, deals with the real estate office on a daily basis. And he was like, who wrote the check? Oh, Ileana wrote the check. Ileana, cool. Called Ileana, confirmed it. They got me out of there. I ended up speaking to the manager about the situation and all was lost. Okay, here's the situation I'm in now. I got into a small fender bender. My car is in the body shop. So for the last 3 weeks, I've had a rental car. The rental car was only supposed to be covered for 1 week because it was only supposed to take 1 week to repair my car. 3 weeks in, my car is still not repaired. So in short, Geico needed to extend the rental car in the system from the 4th until whenever. Geico had already told me they were only going to extend the rental car for a 2nd week, that I would financially be responsible for the 3rd week. I'm okay with that. I then get an email from the manager of Enterprise saying to me, I just got off the phone with Geico. They are going to extend the rental car until the 14th. You need to just come in and pay us from the 14th to present. So that's what today was. Now my car is still in the body shop. It should be ready Wednesday. I get to the counter. Black girl at the far left of the counter. Cuban guy at the far right of the counter. I walk in. I say, hey, I got this rental car and I believe I owe y'all for a week. I want to clear this balance and I want to see if I can extend it for a couple more days. She says, oh, not a problem. So she asked me my phone number. She looked up my account. Now at this point, the Cuban man walks down from his end of the register and stands behind her. No worries. I'm assuming that perhaps this is David, the gentleman that I had been corresponding with via email about the balance for the 1 week. So I did not mind because we had already had a rapport. Lo and behold, that was not David. I don't know who this was. So she looks into the system. So when my screen comes up, he says, okay, well, he now jumps in and says, okay, well, we got a dilemma. We've already reported because of the balance. This has already been recorded to corporate. We have to close this out through Geico. And we have to create a new rental contract. We're going to have to charge you a $200 deposit. We're going to do this like a new rental. Not a problem, sir. Let me clear the balance. What's the balance? $560 something. No, sir. I got an email. Geico was covering an additional week. I should only have to pay like $200, which I was prepared to do. He looks in the system and says, it's only in the system until the 4th. I said, well, sir, I have an email from David. Are you David? He says, no, I'm not David. And he's like, well, it's only to the 4th. I give him my phone. And on the email, it's David and I guess their corporate liaison, Julio. I'm like, this email is from David saying I only owe 1 week. But he just refuses to give me any kind of customer service or concession for the email. Now, again, I am the most diplomatic person when it comes to business, and I recognize that folks are only doing their job. I totally get the computer says the 4th and doesn't say the 14th. I understand that. However, I got this email from your boss that says the 14th. Does that not count for anything? Never once did this young man say, well, let me get David on the line. Never once did he suggest that I try to call Geico. He was just dry and rude and was like, sorry, we can't do anything. Just didn't want to give me any level of customer service. Okay, once again, me choosing to be voluntarily naive, I just wrote it off to maybe he's busy. Maybe he's having a bad day. Here's where things get sticky. I go to the young lady and I said to her flat out, let me get Geico on the line to pay for this, to see what we can figure out, because I'm only paying y'all for a week. And if not, I will give y'all's rental car, but I'm not making a payment on this until y'all talk to Geico, because I'm not about to go through paying the $500 and then waiting to get a refund from either y'all or Geico. Then y'all gonna tell me my check coming from corporate and it's gonna take 30 days for me. Y'all already know what it's like trying to get these refunds from these corporate companies. So I'm sitting on the phone in the lobby area. I'm calling Geico. I gotta call my claims adjuster. It's the holiday weekend. His claim thing says he won't be in till the 21st. So after that, I call Geico customer service, 1-800 Geico. 1-800 Geico says, unfortunately, you have to talk directly with your claims manager. We'll call him, send him an email, whatever the case may be. I told Geico 1-800, no problem, thank you. I go back to the counter. I said, well, listen, baby, here's the situation. I said, I'm going to give y'all rental car. I said, but I don't want to make this payment until whatever. The black girl says, well, do you just want to pay for the 1 week that you know you want to pay for? I said, I sure do. And I said, hold on, let me find a card. Let me find which card I want to put it on. Now, here's the gag. Because y'all know how these corporate companies do. Bitch, I did not want to give them hoes for that $240 balance my debit card with all my money on it, because you know them motherfuckers will run whatever card they have on file. So bitch, I was going through my wallet and I was seeing which credit card I had that had just enough money to clear that $242 in case them hoes tried to get spotty and run my card for the whole thing, because something in my spirit told me that the lack of customer service that this man was giving me, that the moment I would have handed them a card that had $500 on it, that they would have ran it. So I sit down or whatever, figure out what card I'm gonna put it on. I go back to the counter. I tell the black girl, okay, I'm ready to pay. She says, okay, let me pull you back up. She goes to pull me up in the system. She can't find my open account. So she walks to the back and says, let me find out if he ran the charge. When she came back from around that counter, do y'all know that girl told me that that man ran that charge? And so I look at her and now I'm baffled and confused because I'm like, he ran the charge. He didn't tell you. He didn't tell me. He did not give me a receipt. You ran the charge on my card and you see me sitting down. There was no have a good day, Mr. Latham. It's taken care of, Mr. Latham. You took it upon yourself to run the charge on the card that y'all had on file. That is not the card I wanted to use. Nevertheless, it left me feeling like in his mind, he was like, oh, we gonna get this money and we gonna get it from you now. Like, I feel strong-armed that he took it upon himself and he ran the 1 week. So I don't know if he ran whatever she had on the counter. He didn't run the 5. He did run the 242. So at the end of the day, I'm not super duper pissed because that's what I was prepared to pay anyway. But it bothers me that he jumped in on her transaction, took it upon himself to run and get whatever he could get, did not say anything to anyone. And I'm just sitting here like, damn, what's with the lack of customer service? Now, here's the thing, right? Based on the details that I've given y'all in this video about this situation, and based on the details that I've given y'all about the banking situation, one could say sufficient enough evidence is not there to suggest that any of this was racial. Okay, I'm a practical person and I totally understand that. However, I know what I felt. And that's just the only way I can describe it. I know what I felt. And in both of those situations, I feel like the Cuban gentleman dealing with me already had a predisposition of dislike against me. And I didn't do anything. And I know some of y'all may jump in the comments and say I'm reaching or I'm crazy. But I know what I felt. And it just didn't feel right. And I think for those of you guys out there who have experienced similar situations, you know when it's racial and you know when it's not. And I am the king for being voluntarily in denial, even when I know something is what it is. And today is one of those days that despite what some of you guys may say is sufficient evidence, I know what the fuck I just experienced. And I'm one of the nicest people there comes to when it comes to doing business. So the question that I ask, and I hear a lot of my black friends complain about interactions with Cuban people when it comes to Miami, and I try to not entertain those conversations. This is for both sides of the aisle, my Cuban and people of Latin descent and my black people. What is this shit all about? Like, what is it all about? I did not do anything in both situations. Why was I treated with so little regard? And it hurts. And it's confusing because the thing about the racism and the nice nastiness, they do just enough to make you feel slighted and nasty, but not enough for you to have something tangible to hold on to call corporate or to tell this story at a party and not sound crazy. I know what I experienced in both of those situations. That first situation, I chose to ignore it. But this one, even when I was outside on the phone and he was helping other customers, the way he refused to look at me in the face. Or, you know, normally when you walk past somebody and you lock eyes with them, you do one of these numbers, you know, or whatever. Just let me know when you're ready. Like, just his whole spirit gave, I'm going to get this money and you ain't getting another rental car from us. And, you know, I hope I'm doing a sufficient job in explaining this. But see, here's the thing that bothers me. And I hate to go where I'm about to go. In the past, meaning my childhood and even now, have you ever, how can I word this without sounding nasty? I find it odd that people treat you away and you doing better than them. Like the bank teller that treated me funny. I don't know what bank tellers make, $11, $12 an hour. But I'm like, God, I hate how this is about to sound. But you treating me like shit, bitch, and you sitting up here with this fucking $11 an hour ass job. Okay, that's the shit you can't say to people. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking at the Enterprise rental car, bitch. I'm like, based on where you work, your ass probably can't even afford to rent no goddamn car from here, and you treat me this way. Now, some people would make the comments that they don't like to see you doing better than them. And I hate entertaining that level of conversation because I hate when black people say it. You know, I got family members that's quick to say, you know, the Cubans taking over and they won't let nobody get no job. And I shut that shit down because I don't like that level of conversation. But, you know, there are times such as this one that some of those things ring true. And it makes me look back on conversations that I've heard older family members say, and those comments that they don't like to see you doing better than them. Or some people don't like to see black people doing well and think that they should always be doing better than black people. Now, you know what? I may be putting too much on it. I may be reaching. I don't know. But it's how it made me feel. And so the question I have, and I don't even want the opinions from black people because this is a shared story. We know how this shit goes, whatever the case may be. I actually want anybody in my following that is Cuban, anybody that is of Latin descent, that's from South Florida. I need y'all to share some light because the opinions and thoughts I'm gonna get from black people, I've already heard. They're the same as mine. We live this shit. So I ain't really interested in what black people gotta say. I just want to know honestly, do Cuban people inherently, and especially the ones in Miami, inherently have a problem with black people? And I will be the first person to go ahead and put a little skin in the game. I am willing to sit here and say many black people in South Florida do feel a way about Cuban people. And they feel this way because the appearance of Cuban people have come in South Florida and have been given better treatment than the indigenous population here and seem to get much further than black people. And when they get in positions of power, they lock it up where other, you know, races can't get in, and they seem to take over. I hear many black people in South Florida have that sentiment, and some people allow that sentiment to turn into hate. I'm not one of those people. Now, my black people are not crazy. I do recognize the fact that Cuban people are the majority. That yes, when they come in, their hiring practices, they hire people that look like them. They move into neighborhoods. They help their family members move into neighborhoods. And here's the thing. I ain't mad with them. That's, as far as I'm concerned, that's what the fuck you supposed to do. Now, I'm not an advocate of locking people out and locking the system up where others can't get in. But in terms of looking out for your people and bringing your own up, I am here for that. But I think as a result of that, it has caused a lot of racial tensions between Cuban people and black people. Excuse me. I understand things from the black people side of the aisle, but from my Latin American constituency, in particular my Cuban people, what are you guys' overall feelings and sentiments about black people in South Florida, and in particular black men? I really want to know, and y'all, let's try to have this conversation in a healthy manner. You know, I could have gone one or two ways with this. I could have gone down this whole road of bashing folks, and that's not what I want to do. I want to understand, and I want to use this negative experience I had to foster a teaching moment for all, because it didn't have to be. And you know what? I actually feel better now that I was able to get this off of my chest and turn it into a teaching moment. So y'all drop that in the comments. Let me know what you think, and be sure to like and subscribe, and most of all, do not spend all your money on Black Friday buying up a whole bunch of shit that you don't need, that's only discounted $9 from what it was last week. And we'll talk later. Bye.